Mic check. Check 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3.
ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes till go time. 5 minutes till go time. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start you off here in the championship market drive with your champion Simmental. That's Nick Deppy. Nick Deppy exhibiting champion Simmental steer reserve, Sam McKinney. Once again, Nick Deppy champion, Sam McKinney reserve. Coming in next, your champion purebred shorthorn steer, that's Abby Powell's. Abby Powell's exhibiting the champion and reserve, Luke Kroc. Reserve champion purebred shorthorn, Luke Kroc. Next in, your champion shorthorn plus, that's Kinnick Paulson. Kinnick Paulson with your champion shorthorn plus, Michaela Downing with your reserve. Those are your shorthorn pluses. Next in, the mini Herf division, mini Hereford champion Kennedy Steffens. Reserve Kylie Steffens. Once again, champion mini Herf Kennedy Steffens, reserve Kylie. Next in, your champion main and juice steer. Hey, that's Hunter Locke right there. Hunter Locke with your champion main steer, reserve Dayton Weaver. Reserve champion main Dayton Weaver. Next in, champion limousine steer, that's Aaron Puck. Champion limousine steer, Aaron Puck. Next in, your Hereford division, your champion Addison Wall. Champion Hereford, Addison Wall, reserve. Reserve Maggie Anderlich. Once again, champion Hereford, Addison Wall, reserve Maggie Anderlich. Next in, the Kianina division. Champion key steer, Laney DeVries. Your champion key is Laney DeVries. Reserve, McLean Jorgensen. Champion key, Laney DeVries. Reserve, McLean Jorgensen. All right, your champion Charlet steer, that's Katie Van Meter. Champion Charlet, Katie Van Meter. Reserve has not made it to the barn yet. Reserve has not made it to the barn. That was Abby Henderson. Your champion Angus steer, that's Olivia Johnson. Olivia Johnson, champion Angus steer. Reserve, Chase Simons. Chase Simons, reserve Angus. And the finale here, your champion market heifer, that's Dawson Minor. Champion market heifer, Dawson Minor. Reserve, Kyara Payne. Ha, got it. Kyara Payne, reserve market heifer. And lastly, your champion crossbred steer. Hey, that's Cole Lauderbaugh. Cole Lauderbaugh with the champion. Reserve, Miss Macy Gretzka. Champion crossbred, Cole Lauderbaugh. Reserve, Macy Gretzka. That's going to conclude your lineup of market animals for the 2018 Iowa Beef Expo. Hey, let's give them a huge congratulatory round of applause. We're going to bring your champions back in on this side alone after the parade here. We'll line them up for Judge Jack Ward to make his final selection of the top 5 overall market animals. At the Iowa Beef Expo, the market heifer is in contention for top 5 overall market animal. Jack Ward hails from Plattsburgh, Missouri, married to his wife Mary Ann, 2 sons, Carter and Cameron. Graduated from Blackhawk East and Purdue. After college, he went on to manage a couple Angus herds, one in Kentucky, one in Indiana, and then ended up with the Hereford Association, eventually working his way to where he is now as the American Hereford Association Executive Vice President. I know Jack very well. I filmed for the Hereford Association, so if it seems like we talk a lot, we do, because we're friends and have been for a long time. He's also a huge friend of the Iowa Beef Expo and the Iowa State Fair. And folks, he's done a remarkable job, I think. He's told you why he's did it, and he's done it in a timely fashion. One more time, let's give him a big thank you for this year's job he's done. While Jack's looking through them one more time, we have to say thank you to our sponsors, the sponsors, exhibitors for education sponsors, the high stakes sponsors. I'm not going to read each and every one of them. I've done that before. The gold level sponsors and the silver level sponsors. Folks, it takes a lot of money and a lot of time to get through this, to make this possible, so that we can come here and watch a really good steer and heifer show. Also, I want you all to realize the quality of volunteer help that shows up here every year. the judges have mentioned they didn't wait on one class. They didn't, you know, there was no mess ups. I tell you what, that doesn't just happen. It's a very labor-intense show, and I think each and every one of you here, I would like for you to thank with a big round of applause all the volunteer help that you've seen in the ring and outside help line up. Do that for me if you would, please. I will mention one more time, all the results are posted on the IJBBA website. There's several pictures on the Facebook page. We need to announce the winners of the Arts and Crafts and Photography divisions one last time. Arts and Crafts, first place Pee Wee division, Brock Studer, second to Callie Lewis. Junior division, Grant Bree, and first place, second to Peyton Ford. In the junior division photography, first place Kaiten Bremer, second to Tyler Loudon. Senior division, Cassidy Bremer first, Cassidy Bremer second. In the photography digitally enhanced division, junior division, J.C. Orman, Linden first, Clayton Bremer, Redfield second. And the senior division, first Anna Junk, Sioux City, second Cassidy Bremer. Well, as I mentioned earlier, folks, the number of exhibitors are up this year. The number of head are up this year. 1,014 total head of steers and heifers exhibited in the junior show here. Once again, 1,014 head.
Well, as we get ready to finish up here in our market arena, just a couple of very quick comments before we select our top five. And Brad's kind of already covered many of the things that needed to be covered, and that is to show appreciation to all of those involved in putting on the Iowa Beef Expo in such a class event. It's still, in my opinion, considered the granddaddy, the Rose Bowl of all beef expos, the first one that got started and the one that kind of sets the standard for all. And as Brad mentioned yesterday, I have had the pleasure to be here on a few different occasions, and it's just indeed always a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to be a part of a great show, and coming to Iowa, you know you're going to get it. You're not only going to get good cattle, you're going to get them presented well, you're going to get them shown well, and it's just a lot of fun, right? And it's really an incredible experience. I listened to Parker say a couple of times about being positive and doing keeping a positive feeling. You know, we're in a time in our society where that positivity effect or that thought does get lost just a little bit, and I couldn't agree more with him. We talk about that in our office. We have staff meetings every week at the American Hereford Association on a Monday morning, and that's always one of the messages we send. We want to be positive. We want to do things right. My wife and I tried to instill that, obviously, into our children. And it's tough sometimes, right? Because you put your heart and your soul into something, and you're competitive in your nature. And so sometimes when things don't work exactly to your favor, it's easy to get critical. It's easy to be down, and you know what? We just kind of got to remember and pick ourselves up just a little bit, because I don't think we realize. We talk about this all the time. In my family, we've had the pleasure to do some international traveling, to do some things like this, and I just got to tell you, you know, my oldest son and I took a trip to South Africa last fall, and we were not able to get away from our hosts ever because it was too dangerous to be alone, right? And so I don't think at times we realize just how fortunate we are here in this country, and how pleasing it is to be able to do things and do things the right way and do it in safety. And so what Parker said is exactly what we have to do. We have to stay positive. And you know, I have fun with some really good friends here in Iowa, and you know, it doesn't matter. I can call them out, right? Mark Core and I are great friends. We laugh a lot, and we were talking just a little bit here, and there's probably somebody that's going to post a picture on Facebook or some social media outlet that's going to show that I was a freaking idiot because I didn't pick their steer. You know what? That's okay. I couldn't care less. Because I'll tell you what, the thing that I'm going to remember about the Iowa Beef Expo, first of all, yeah, it is a good show. It's a great show. And I'm pretty comfortable the ones that are going to win are going to take good pictures. But more importantly, I'm going to remember the young folks that had their calves get away from them. They went, they grabbed them, they got their chins back up, they shed a few tears, and took back off. That's what I'm going to remember, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build good, young, productive adults. And by doing the things that we do and lending ourselves in that area, that's what we're doing. So God bless the person who puts the picture on social media. It's okay. I'm a big guy, and I'll take it very, very well. Congratulations to all of you. Best of luck to all of you as you put these steers into their final stages the next few months. It's an incredible group of calves. They're very well done, very well fitted and presented. I'm sure they'll be managed appropriately from here on out. Congratulations again. Best of luck. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll get you a couple of champions. Thank you.
Your 2018 Supreme Champion Market Animal coming out of the Crossbred Division. That's Cole Lauterbaugh, Van Meter, Iowa. Coming into contention, Reserve Champion Crossbred. That's Macy Goretzka, Corden, Iowa. Look at that, your Reserve Champion. Hey, that's a female. That's your Champion Market heifer, exhibited by Dawson Minor. Reserve Grand Champion Supreme Market heifer. Reserve Supreme Market Animal. We will be selecting top 5 market animals. Coming into contention now from the Market Heifer Division, that's Kyara Payne. your reserve champion crossbred steer. That's Macy Gretzka, Corden, Iowa. So we got Grand, Supreme Grand is your champion crossbred, then champion market heifer, then reserve crossbred so far. 2 more positions. Hey, that's Hunter Locke right there with your champion main Anju. Gonna slip into the 4th hole. Hunter Locke. Right there around Pekin. I don't think that's your address, but I can't remember. Hunter, if that face looks familiar, I believe she might have been in that winner's circle at the Iowa State Fair with a market heifer. 1 last hole to fill. Your reserve main coming in. That's Dayton Weaver. Looks to me like your champion Scimitar is going to go 5th. That's Nick Deppy. Nick Deputy. So, recap. Supreme champion market animal, that's Cole Waterbaugh. Reserve is your champion market heifer, Mr. Dawson Minor. 3rd overall, Macy Gretzka with her reserve market or reserve crossbred steer. 4th, Hunter Locke, champion main, and 5th, Nick Deppy with his champion Scimitar. One more time, let's give all these market animal exhibitors a big round of applause. We're going to start setting up the other side now. Hey, all you top 5ers here, please stay on this side, okay? Because we're going to be using all of the other sides. So please stay right over here. Well, all right, we're going to do the exact opposite here. Going to start bringing these heifers in, and we'll be parading by you here in a second. right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're ready on the heifer side. This is your supreme breeding female final drive. Starting out with the Aberdeen percentage. That's Haley Stuber. Aberdeen percentage. Reserve, Lydia Stuber. Once again, Aberdeen percentage. Champion Haley Stuber. Reserve, Lydia Stuber. Next in, your Charlet percentage. That's Riley Short. Your champion Charlet percentage is Riley Short. Your reserve champion is Anna Junk. Next in, your purebred Charlet division. That's Candace Heald. With your champion, your reserve champion is Wyatt Pryor. Champion Charlet, Candace Heald. Reserve, Wyatt Pryor. Next in, your Chianina division. That's Sarah Sullivan with your champion key female. Your reserve is Cody Metcalf. Sarah Sullivan, champion key. Cody Metcalf, reserve. Next in, Horned Hereford. That's Olivia Johnson with your champion Horned Hereford. Reserve champion Horned Hereford is Jackson Krebs. Once again, Olivia Johnson, champion Horned Hereford, reserve Jackson Krebs. Your champion Polled Hereford, Reese Thorson. Champion Polled Hereford is Reese Thorson. Your reserve is Logan Schrader, correction. Hey, sorry about that, Jordan Johnson. That's, I see where they marked it off now. Jordan Johnson with champion Horned Hereford. Okay, into the Polled Herefords. Reese Thorson, champion. Logan Schrader, reserve. Limflex champion Haley Dodge, reserve Anna Radcliffe. Limflex champion Haley Dodge, reserve Anna Radcliffe. Champion Limousine Mara Anderson, reserve Aaron Puck. Your champion maintainer, that's Chloe Van Fleet. Reserve champion maintainer is Sarah Sullivan. Entering the ring, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. That's Mara Anderson, champion limousine, reserve Aaron Puck. Here we go with Chloe Van Vliet and your champion maintainer. Your reserve champion maintainer owned by Sarah Sullivan. Your champion high main, that's Regan McClure. Regan McClure. Reserve Brady Belcher. Those are your high main, grand, and reserve. Next in mini Herfs, your champion, that's Kendall Burns. Reserve Kaylin Huseman. Champion miniature Hereford, Kendall Burns. Reserve Kaylin Huseman. Next in Foundation Red Angus, that's Brody Edge with your champion. Brody Edge with your champion. Foundation Red Angus, Ethan Timez with your reserve. All right, this young man right in front of me now, that's your champion Red Angus. That's Luke Pladson. Reserve champion Red Angus, Brady Edge. Next in, Solaire's champion, Sage Eitz with the champion, Sage Eitz with the reserve. That's your purebred Solaire, Sage Eitz, grand and reserve. Next in, your Shorthorn Pluses, that's Pacey Hawkins with your champion Shorthorn Plus, Jake Brandt, reserve Shorthorn Plus. Once again, Pacey Hawkins, champion Shorthorn Plus, Jake Brandt, reserve. Next in your purebred Shorthorns, that's Hayden Green with your champion, and Dominique Fouts with your reserve champion purebred. Dominique is not here, I'm sorry. So that's, you're looking at your champion purebred Shorthorn, Hayden Green. Next in, that's, I know that young man, that's Foundation Simmental champion Tanner Curtin. Tanner Curtin, champion Foundation Semi. Another heifer, reserve Foundation Semi, owned by Sarah Sullivan. Tanner Curtin, champion foundation semi. Sarah Sullivan, reserve. Next in, champion high Simmental. That's Keaton Craig. Keaton Craig with your champion purebred Simmental. Kirsten Jass, your reserve. Once again, those are your high semis. Keaton Craig, champion. Kirsten Jass, reserve. Your Angus owned by Sarah Sullivan. Reserve, Rowdy Van Zee. Champion Angus, owned by Sarah Sullivan. Reserve, Rowdy Van Zee. And the last division of the day, champion commercial heifer. That's Riley Rogers. Miss Riley Rogers with your champion commercial, and another heifer owned by Sarah Sullivan was your reserve champion commercial. Hey, that concludes our lineup for Judge Parker Henley to analyze. We're going to let him parade through the ring, bring the champions back over on this side, and we'll see if we can't get you a top 5 here. Let's give these exhibitors, these Grand Reserve exhibitors and all their families a big, nice round of applause. Let me tell you about our judge on the heifer side one last time. That's Parker Henley. Parker currently resides in Champaign, Illinois, while working on his PhD in cow-calf nutrition and coaching the livestock judging team at the University of Illinois. Parker is originally from Central Missouri, where he and his family raise Angus and Charolais cattle. Parker was a member of the Reserve National Champion Livestock Judging Team at Butler, and then received his animal science degree at K-State, where he was a member of that livestock judging team also. Currently, along with coaching, Parker teaches multiple undergrad breeding and market animal evaluation courses while focusing his research in heifer and bull development systems. One last time, let's thank our female judge, Mr. Parker Henley, for a job well done. Well, just as we did over on the steer side, I think it's only fitting that we give some recognition to all these hardworking volunteers that have showed up, many of them year after year, to help funnel these cattle in and out of here, and make sure the little kids that are getting drug around the ring get saved, and just kind of out here making sure everything's greased up good and rolling. So if you would join with me here on the heifer side, and let's thank all these volunteers, whether it be in this ring, whether it be lining them up, whether it be the staff that helps put this show on. Let's give them a big old nice thank you round of applause. Once again, don't forget, if you're at home wondering who won something, you can hop right on that IJBBA website with all the classes posted, all the exhibitors posted, or jump on their Facebook page at IJBBA. Also, if you want one last souvenir to go home from the 2018 Expo, t-shirts are still for sale down there in the office, $10. You know, before Parker gets on the mic, I did forget one very important fact from today. Today is Parker's birthday. It's our judge's birthday, so everybody, we won't probably do anything drastic here, but maybe just give him a round of applause so we don't spook any cattle. How about that? What? Couldn't get a better present than that, could you?
Well, it has been a really fun day and a good way to spend my birthday. I love evaluating cattle, and that was certainly fun. Now, I don't like to make anybody else mad on my birthday, but if I did, I apologize. But I had fun out here while I was doing it. So, first off and foremost, I want to start and say thank you to the Iowa Beef Expo staff and crew and Mindy. I'm not sure where she's at. Back there, thank you for all your hard work. And then I would be here for a long time if I read off all the names of the people that helped in both rings, and Brad for taking us out to eat last night. We sure had a good time. This staff is extremely good. There were so many people here just helping out in the ring. We got through it really smoothly. I think we judged a little over 600 head, and I thought we moved through them at a fairly rapid pace, and so that was fun. It keeps the energy up, keeps things going. There's nothing worse than being at a cow show late at night. So fun, and thank you to you guys. Next, I guess I'll say thank you to my wife. I appreciate her being here, as well as my parents that came up just to watch, and I'm very thankful for them. And I'll remind you guys that as you go home, you know, and you're riding in the truck on the way back, and you may not get a ribbon or banner, think about how fortunate you are, not only to be in this country, but to be showing cattle and having the kind of investment at your lead there that your parents have put forth for you. You probably won't understand and appreciate that until you get to my age and you get done and you think about maybe buying a show cow on your own dime, and then you'll really appreciate what they did for you. You know, just a little few things. You know, I never won a beef expo. You know, we were last a lot more times than not, and you know, my family raised cattle forever, but darn sure didn't have any purebred cattle or show cattle, and so that started as just kind of a 4-H thing, and it grew. And I'll tell you what, I spent a lot of time around some really good people, and I learned a lot for some really good people. And a lot of those people are around ringside here. Some of my idols and some of my mentors are standing in this crowd, and I'm very thankful for all the time that you guys have educated me. And a lot of that time was spent here learning on this particular fairgrounds. I mentioned one thing, and Jack brought it up. You know, part of my philosophy, I want to stay positive. I want to be upbeat, and I learned that. It's funny, he said that from Jack. If anybody has a judging idol or mentor, mine would probably be Jack. And as a young kid, when you'd listen to him or be a family maybe that would get beat more times than win, I always felt like I knew why when he was done. And so that's something I strive to do, is not only just describe the calf, but tell you my thoughts of what I prioritized and where I did it. And so it was fun to judge across from Jack. You know, he maybe mentioned that the Iowa Beef Expo is like the Rose Bowl of beef expos. I kind of think it's more like Game 1 of the World Series. I'm more of a baseball fan, and if you really think about it, it's high pressure and it's intense, but you know, it's not life or death. There'll be another show for these cattle afterwards, and if you go home, you make the right kind of adjustments, you make the right changes, you can still be world champion or national champion, whatever you may have, by Game 7 in Louisville. So, I had a blast. I'd been looking forward to this day for so long, and it's because I knew how good this show would be. I came to my first Beef Expo 8 years ago, and I've been to every one since in some capacity of judging coach, judging contestant, or even back there fitting some cattle. With that said, there's no place better that brings good breeding cattle that are functional in their structure and presented awesome. Thank you to you juniors. I had a lot of fun. You guys were awesome. The cattle were fitted perfectly for you crews in the back there. There's nobody else that likes one dressed good like myself, and so I thank you. It was a blast. Had a great birthday. I'm going to go show you the 5 that I like. Put your hands together.
Your Supreme Champion female, that's your Kianina champion, and that's Miss Sarah Sullivan from Dunlap, Iowa. Supreme Champion female, coming out of the Kianina division. Coming in contention for reserve from the Kianina division, Cody Metcalf. Your maintainer, exhibited by Miss Chloe Van Vliet. That's your reserve champion, Miss Chloe Van Vliet, Pella, Iowa. Coming into contention from the maintainer division, your reserve champion, owned by Sarah Sullivan. Third overall, your champion Foundation Simmental. That's Tanner Curtin. Once again, Tanner Curtin, third overall with his champion Foundation Simmental. Coming into contention, the reserve Foundation Simmental, owned by Miss Sarah Sullivan. So far, we've got champion Key Grand, champion Maintainer Reserve, champion High Percent Semi, third overall. 2 more spots to fill. Coming out of the Angus division, that's going to be your 4th overall, owned by Sarah Sullivan. Coming into contention from the Angus division, your reserve champion, Rowdy Van Zee. Your fifth overall reserve maintainer, owned by Sarah Sullivan.